So, mindfulness is a thing of its own. It's not a definition, and it's not the practice, and it's elusive so much of the time because it has nothing to do with our brain or emotions or anything we're used to thinking about. So we're going to take just a moment of silence here. I can see what I'm thinking if I look. I can see what I'm feeling in my emotions if I look. I can see what my body is sensing or urging me or asking me. Who am I that can see those things? How is it I can step back and see what I'm thinking? That is where we have a gateway to mindfulness, to awareness. So let's take just a moment. Who am I that can see all the rest of this in me that's going on all the time? Okay. So there's this space of awareness in it. I like to say it's in everyone. Lao Tzu and the Tao thought so, Buddha thought so, Jesus thought so. But I'm not sure that everybody is going to be able to find it in this lifetime. So I will just say that if you were interested in finding an inner place of peace, it's there to be found from my experience. So mindfulness is about deliberately tuning in to that space of peace. Excuse me. We use a model. Everybody has their own model. Every brain builds their own model. It's not a belief, because a model is open to change moment to moment. But the model is, there's two aspects to our human experience. The one is this state of inner awareness. It's also always at peace. It is, even if I'm not. It is curious. It sees beauty wherever it looks. It has a joy, like, I'm glad I'm here having this experience. Okay, we're driving off the cliff. Let's see how this goes. And it has another unique quality that becomes a signature we work with. And that is, it wishes well for everything and everyone that it's sharing its experience with. The other aspect of our humanness is what I call the animal body. And it literally is the animal part of us that evolved, and it's all about survival. So it's always on guard, it's always on the lookout, it's suspicious, it can get fearful. And it has many emotions which are reactive ways to deal with its world. It's concerned with survival first, reproduction second, and if those two are taken care of, then it's all about satiating its personal desires. So that's where we get both greed, lust, and what we call love, and wanting a partner, and all of that. It's a whole mix of very often contradictory emotions and urges. So mindfulness is about me realizing, you realizing, wait a minute, I got all these thoughts in my brain, I got all these feelings, I got my body yelling about this or that. Where's my peace? Where's my state of awareness that's at peace? If we're not familiar with it, that may seem like a fantasy. Certainly some days it seems like a fantasy that such exists in here. But our inner awareness has another quality, and that is, if we will allow it, it can run the show. It can control our brain, our emotions, and our body. And we can let it reprogram all this reactive nature we have built with our emotions and our stories and our drama and our reactions and trauma and all of that. Our awareness can begin reprogramming. So when the Tao or Buddha or Jesus says, there's a place within you, go there, and it will bring you peace, it's an active statement. It's not a passive giving up, blanking out to the world. No, it's going to the state of awareness, and that awareness is very much alive in us. In fact, in time, as I learn to hang out more and more in that awareness, I will shift my sense of identity from my animal self to that awareness. And that is called awakening, enlightenment, being saved, depending on which word package you're playing with. The thing is, it's very real. It's very attainable. But as some dudes like Jesus might put it, but you have to give up the world to hang out in peace. And what does that mean? Well, my animal self wants to react to everything in the world. I want to love it. I want to hate it. I want it to go away. I want to change. There's a reaction, and I can feel it in my body. I said the signature of the aware self is it wants to wish well for everything and everyone. That's called extension, for a word handle. The animal self that wants to control or react contracts. You can feel it. When you see something you don't like, you contract. You either want me to go away or you want it to go away. But it's a contraction. And that blocks the flow of the life that we are given. It dampens it. It also signals another person. If I contract, I'm now defensive. And what does a defense say? It says, you're going to attack me. Well, there's a lot of folks out there that'll be glad to take me up on that. Yep, you want to be defensive, I will attack. So there's much value in going to awareness just from those psychological levels. If I can return to my peace, okay, I see this situation, I don't like it the way it is, okay, I can be at peace with it. No reaction, no drama. That's giving up the world. If I think about Gaza right now in my human love will be sad and cry, and it will also urge me to hate Israelis and all our other countries backing it. now I've got this conflicted wad of emotions going on. To give up the world is to step back into awareness, where I feel the love of the Creator, and it just sees, yes, that is ugly. They are doing ugly things, but there's no emotion. I see I still have my emotions, but in awareness, I've stepped out of them. That's giving up the world. It's giving up the world as I see it, as I want it to be. But it frees me to be in pure love, God love, when I give up the world. So, mindfulness itself is one very simple thing. I remember, oh, I could be at peace. There's that place in me. I was there one time. Yeah, I'd like to be there again. Then, so I remember. Then I begin choosing. And I say begin because it can often take a while, sometimes months or years. I want to be at peace with this. No, I don't. I want to be no, I like being pissed off. I want to be, no, I need to be afraid of that. That's going to hurt me. I want to be. So we begin that process of choosing. And whether it takes 1 second or a day or 3 months, it's the same practice. Then there comes a magic moment. And our own awareness helps us make this choice for peace. It wants us to be at peace. But there comes a magic moment, which is the third step. And I sincerely just quit wrestling and say, yes, I want to go to my peace. I want to be living in and from that peace. You feel it. It settles in your heart. Your brain quiets and softens. And then the last step is I turn to my own awareness and I say, help me get there. So that's it. That is mindfulness. It's just remembering I have a place of peace and deciding I want to go there. Well, it sounds way too simple, and the brain doesn't like simple. The brain likes big, complicated theories of the universe and debates about God and cosmic consciousness and studying the history of Buddha. But every practice in all the world comes back to this very basic one in the end. It's all about, I want to be at peace. Well, maybe it's about, I want to have a better life. Okay, how do I do that? Well, I get to peace and operate it with awareness. Oh, well, maybe I want to be a better person. How do I do that? Oh, I go to my peace and express from there in love instead of from my reactive nature. Everything comes back to that one, you could say it's one choice we have constantly for our entire life. I can go to my peace and live from there, express from there, experience from there, or I can drop back into my animal, and however it's been programmed in the past, genetics, upbringing, teachers, parents, friends, peers, they all program my animal. I'm really a walking program. That isn't me. That's why you see young people searching like, well, I got to figure out who I am. That's because they're trying to sort the programs out. They've been told 100 different programs, and they see 100 more in the world, or who am I? That part of us is entirely programmable. It's why it doesn't make sense, why it's often self-contradictory. But if I discover there's a place of peace in me, there it is. Well, you can't just stay there. Yeah, you can. It may take 70 years for that to stabilize, for sure. But we can set it as our goal. And then apply mindfulness to every moment where we're making a choice. How do I want to respond to this? With my old reaction that needs to get angry or afraid? Or Oh, well, what if I go to my peace? And you will hear your animal argue. No, if I go to my peace, they're going to hurt me. I don't have time to go to peace. If I go to my peace, I'm not going to get what I want. I need to be angry. All these arguments come up in us against our own peace. And that's really the crux of the journey, is spotting our own arguments and giving them up. Again, let go of the world. Our mind has to have a reality construct, because that it believes it keeps us safe. Whether we think we believe in God or not, or we think the world is this way or not, underneath it, in our subconscious, we have a very strong reality model that we believe this is how it is. And for many people, it's the belief that the world is a constant threat. There's germs, there's bad people, there's meteors going to fall out of the sky and hit me in the head. It lives in a constant model, a state of belief that the world is my enemy. And then we each have our own particular variation on that, of, well, exactly who's the enemy and what's bad and what's good. But the point of awakening is we learn to catch when we drop into operating from our model, instead of staying in awareness and saying, all right, let me experience and examine this moment brand new. Let me give up my world, that model of what I think reality, the world, God, and people all are. Let me just be here. So now we're back to being present, be here now in the Buddhist vein. I'm just here in awareness. Yep, oh, I see, I think lots of things about this. Got a few feelings about it too. I can turn to my own awareness, because we're always a mix of both. Only for really split seconds, especially early on, are we in awareness alone. But that space grows. But we turn to our own awareness and ask it, help me. Help me stay clear. Help me get clearer. In Christian terms, we call that the Holy Spirit. And we turn within to the help within, the kingdom within. So, it seems too simple. And I guess all I could really offer is, if something in us is arguing it isn't that simple, that's my defense of a reason to remain miserable. Because instead of just going to peace right now, I'm going to be sit here and be miserable for a while, because until this is solved, until they go away, we begin to see all that more and more and more, and that's awakening. That's what awakening is. We're not awakening to some mystical unknown, although that comes along too, but we're awakening to what we've been doing to make our own life miserable, and maybe make other people's lives miserable too. And we're choosing, I want to go to my awareness, my peace, and just not do all that anymore. Then as we progress, our animal will scream again, but you're killing me. You're getting rid of me. I'm dying. Well, hopefully that's true. But it's not me. I've learned I am not this mess of brain and emotions and reactions and programs and lusts and desires. I'm this state of awareness. Now I can look into my human animal experience and say, all right, I like to paint seashells and make that kind of art. I like to write computer programs. And we let that animal express in peace, joy. You know, it can be very energetic. It's not about sitting Om Buddha all day long on a mat. It can be running the marathon. It can be, you know, creating a new computer system or whatever, raising our families, running this community. But it's all done as best as possible by remembering to go back to my awareness first. Awareness can generate new thoughts for us. If we give up our old thinking, it will give us new. In fact, only awareness can generate a new thought. The brain can only process past data, like a computer. Whatever data is on the hard drive, whatever programs are on it, that's all it gets. But awareness can give us new thoughts, new feelings even. So, all right, that's the basics. And today I'm going to apply it to a topic. I've been thinking about this because having William here with us has brought up some interesting new considerations. So the topic today I will offer is, I will call it specialness versus uniqueness. And we all deal with our own specialness, and we all have our own uniqueness. So this is not just in particular cases, but a quick look at what we do. And forget the semantics, you'll see what I'm pointing at very quickly. If I'm special, it means the rest of creation should rearrange itself to match me. If I'm unique, I look to see how do I fit me into what creation is. So do you see the difference? Well, the use of mindfulness then is for me to become aware, how am I approaching this situation? Am I approaching it with my specialness? Well, I want it to be this way. I mean, I would love if we had silence here from 9 a.m. to 8 a.m. every day. That's my specialness. But that may be unique to me to like that much silence. So how do I do it with the reality of this? Well, mostly I go in my room and close the door for a lot of the day when I want my silent time. But I don't demand and then build a grievance and get angry and make all this time trying to figure out how to change the whole world to fit my unique nature. So it's very common. Specialness is what drives the animal self. It's like, this is what I want. This is what I need. I will take it. I will use it the way I want. So specialness is a component of the animal nature, and so we all have it. Uniqueness, made in the image of God, whatever it made me to be, I'm that. So I learned to see the difference energetically. It's just a feeling. You become aware of the difference of the, oh, no, I want it to change for me. How do I fit what I am with what it is? Is the reversal of specialness to uniqueness. So we find with mindfulness, everything reduces to very simple things like that. Instead of a long psychology and going to therapy to examine it for 10 years, it's like, am I asking it to change for me? Or am I asking how I can fit to it? I mean, fitting to it may mean leaving, but it's not about demanding that all of creation be different. Okay, that's good for the start. Any thoughts?
Somehow, I was remembering back to Stefan's story about the thread or the yarn rolling down the hill and finding a crack to go in. And somehow that came to me.
Yeah. We're looking for that crack to get back to our peace, is what I would see with that, you know? Here I am with this big wall of noise and emotions and turmoil and chaos all around me. I'm looking for that crack to get into my peace through. Yeah, that's one way to play with it.
I was wondering something about specialness. And maybe you've got some words because I don't. But I'm wondering, can specialness also be a negative, as in a lack of self-esteem? Thinking you're special in the sense of not good, bad, not enough, not worthy.
Yes. And it's actually a fairly common device that we will use our unworthiness to then demand something from the world. Well, I don't know. You've hit the right thing, yes. And then because of that, you need to accommodate me. I'm unworthy.
Okay.
Yeah, there's always a device behind every program in us. Yes, and the Course in Miracles actually says that you will choose specialness even if it means choosing to be the most miserable person you know. If that's the way you're going to formulate your specialness. So,
Okay.
good point.
Trying to understand who the world represents, because oftentimes a single voice against the world will mean power structures and programs, as you describe it, and conforming. So, if uniqueness is submitting to the world,
No,
what does that
it's
look
not
like?
submitting to the world at all.
okay,
It's not asking the world to change to fit you. It's finding your path through the world your way. So people waking up, protest, and fuel the progressive movement. You can do that without being hateful and demanding that the Republicans and mainstream Democrats change. You can create a new way, like Bernie Sanders is doing. He's creating a new space within the world, but he's not hating. Sometimes he does, but we all do. So uniqueness it's our creative aspect. It's how creation flows through us. But it doesn't do it in opposition. It's like some of these things that I can just see, but I have a very hard time sharing. It's like if there's all these little dots of black, so it makes the scene look black. I don't mess with the dots, I just put light between them all. And now the whole scene is light, even though the black is still there. Something to that effect. Our uniqueness moves through creation. And I believe with the source helping us when we're conscious of it. It seems, purely my seeming, that as we become more awake, we're more attuned to the divine, and as we work with it, it works for us more. So you hear all these stories of like the saints where cool things happen to them, you know, or you hear many other stories, even in Reader's Digest, you know, of people that just had a miracle happen for them. Well, I find that happens more often the more we turn to our awareness to create our way through life instead of opposing and demanding that life change to fit me. It's kind of a subtle thing to catch at first.
What's coming is what Anne Marie said is how, what is the world in that context? And what I'm getting is that when we approach life through our uniqueness, and we're in the world, but not of the world. We recognize, we're able to recognize what is the construct, the thing that's not real, the things that got made up, like the power structures, etc. It's all programs.
Right.
Like a huge computer system.
You know, back to your thing, like what is the world? For each of us, it's what we think it is. The majority of people have been programmed to think that depends on capitalism to work and survive. Progressive thinking is people that have a different model of what is the world. And they are now increasing that. So we all influence each other with every thought we have, actually. You know, if you were to ask the majority of people, how do you buy a huge piece of land and start a monastery? And the majority would say it's impossible. But here we have a guy in Berkeley that hears about land in Virginia, flies over, he's basically homeless. He lives in a monastery, he has no income, he has no program going, he has no supporters at that, and asks the lady, hey, would you give me a personal mortgage for $1.5 million? And she says, well, of course, here you go. See, there's nothing in the prevailing world model that would say you could do that, but it has been done and it's succeeded. See, that's what we got to see. That world model we hold binds us, and that's where Jesus said you have to leave the world behind. It's what I think the world is that binds me.
But there are places where if you ask, it's provided.
Mm-hmm. That's asking, it's not demanding. I'm talking about our inner attitude, because a demand leads to a grievance and a conflict and a battle mode, and I'm out of my peace. So I don't have peace, and I'm not creating peace for whoever else is involved. In asking mode, a lot of times the world will give amazing things if you ask. Huge things have been given because people have asked. I'm just talking about spotting that difference in my mind of where I see the world owes me or should do this for me or must do, and I go into a grievance and I'm ready to do battle with it to get it. I want it to be different because I think it's not giving me what I want. Whereas in my peace, oh yeah, would you give me an insane mortgage with no possible means of payment in sight? Sure.
But there were many asks that came for that, and Jesus talks about that. He tells the story of the woman who went to the judge, who asked again and
Yes.
again and again.
Yeah.
That's not a demand. That's
Right.
an ask.
Asking is
Again
good.
and again
Yeah.
and again.
what he's referring that to, that's how we should approach God. Keep asking. I want to know my peace. I don't have my peace. I want to know my peace. Help me get there. You know, keep asking until you get there.